Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaylee and these are my books. So today's video is one I am super excited for. I made a TBR game, so this is going to be me choosing my August TBR. The game is called TBRLAND. It's based off of Candyland, and you can see the board. It's kind of sectioned out into thriller and horror books, fantasy and sci-fi books, and then romance books. They all look like they're different lengths, but they each have 12 spaces, so I kind of split it up into my favorite genres. That way, no matter, what the prompt is, so recent release, you might see recent release come up a couple of times on the board, but if I hit recent release in the thriller and horror section, then I choose a recent thriller or horror release. But if I hit recent release in the fantasy and sci-fi section, then I choose a fantasy or sci-fi book. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you don't know what Candyland is, basically you just draw a card. So here's all my cards. You could see that there's different, lots of pinks at the bottom, but different squares on here. The colors are not well mixed. Maybe I need to remix those. But there's 1 squares or 2 squares. And basically I draw a card, and if I get a pink, then 1 pink, then I would start at this first square. But if I got a 2 pink card, I would go to the second pink square. And I just keep drawing cards, keep moving along this path until I make it to the end mood reader section. So I have to continue this path and complete this path each month until I make it to the mood read. So some months I might get through really quickly and only have like maybe 5 books, but some months maybe it'll be mean to me and I'll have like 15 books I have to read before I make it to the end. There are also some bridges. There's an alien bridge which takes us out of the thriller and horror section into the sci-fi section, and there is a love bridge which takes us out of the fantasy section and into the romance section. So if I land on this square, then I can take this bridge and kind of skip this whole section and get to the end faster. That's pretty much it on the rules. It's a really simple game, so if you're confused, just follow along with the video and I'm sure everything will be made clear as we continue to play. I'm gonna reshuffle these though, since when I was showing the bottoms, we kind of saw a bunch of colors all next to each other and I don't want that to happen. So we're shuffling. I didn't cut these very well, so the shuffling is a little bit difficult. Okay. Now to draw the very first card of my very first TBR month game. And we got double green, good card to start with. So we skip past this green and go to the second green. And my first landing spot is a thriller or horror by a favorite author. Okay, so the first poll we got was a recent release thriller or horror book, and this one I was debating between Ruth Ware's The It Girl or Blake Crouch's Upgrade. I think I'm ultimately gonna go for Blake Crouch's Upgrade just because Blake Crouch, Recursion, and Dark Matter were so good. Some of my favorite books ever. So I'm hoping this becomes one of my favorite books ever too. So first book of the month is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Now for the next draw, we got 1 purple. So we move from here to the next purple, which is a YA thriller or horror book. I'm having a lot of difficulty there. The second pick we got was a YA thriller or horror book, and I don't have any physical YA thriller or horror, so I'm gonna have to go with an ebook or audiobook option. And I think I'm gonna go for the audiobook version of the Mary Shelley Club. This is a YA thriller mystery book that I've heard a lot of good things about, and I'm excited because while YA fantasy is no longer my favorite thing to read, I still really enjoy YA thrillers and mysteries. Now for our third pick and third book. Double green again. Wow, this is going really well. So we skip past the novella prompt and move into our epic fantasy prompt. So we were now out of horror and thriller land and into fantasy and sci-fi land. So we have an epic fantasy book for this prompt. The next prompt we got was epic fantasy, and I have a lot of options for that because I've been buying a lot of epic fantasy recently. I have Malice as an option. I have The Blade itself as an option. I have The Shadow of the Gods, The Ruin of Kings, Rage of Dragons. I have a lot of options that I haven't read yet, but I think I'm actually going to choose Malice by John Gwynne because this is the book I want to read the most out of all of those. I haven't heard anyone dislike this book, and a lot of people have been loving it and saying it's their new favorite. And I know Covers with Cassidy loves this book, and so I just really want to give it a try. Next book, One Purple. So we move from epic fantasy to a recent release fantasy or sci-fi book. The next prompt we got was a recent release sci-fi or fantasy, and again I have a couple options for that. I have A River Enchanted, I have The Stardust Thief, I have Iron Widow, and I have The Gilded Cage. And I think I'm gonna go for The Gilded Cage. This is book 2 to the Prison Healer book. The Prison Healer is book 1. I actually don't know what the overall series is called. This says the Prison Healer novel, so maybe it's just the Prison Healer series. But I actually loved the Prison Healer, and I'm excited to continue on in the series. And I don't want to fall too far behind in this series, so I want to read this sequel while Prison Healer is still somewhat fresh in my mind. And look at that dagger on the side. That's just beautiful. So yes, The Gilded Cage is the next book I'll be reading. Next card. Double purple. So we're here, so we move past this purple into the romance section, and we got a KU romance. The next prompt we got was a KU romance, and I think I'm going to go with book 2 in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I think it's called Twisted Games, so I'll have it up on the screen here because I can't remember the exact title of it. I read the first book in that series and gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it, but I heard book 2 is the best book in that series, so I want to continue on. So we're doing really well. We're already almost at the end of the board, and we don't have that many books yet, so fingers crossed it keeps going okay. One pink, so we move from the KU prompt to the next pink prompt, which is a mafia romance. Ooh. The next prompt we got was a mafia romance, and for this I am very excited to finally start Sophie Lark's series. I don't remember off the top of my head which one is book 1 to her big mafia universe, but it'll be up on the screen because I want to read it in the correct order. So I will be reading book 1 to Sophie Lark's mafia romance universe. I mean, it's like I'm entering into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? I've been so hyped for these. So this is one of my favorite picks of the month for me. Next card. Another pink square, so we move from mafia to reverse harem romance. Spicy. And the next pick we got was a reverse harem romance, and I have read the first 2 books in Katie Roberts' Vampire series. I'll have them up on the screen. I'm terrible with the names for these series, and I can't look them up because I'm filming on my phone. So, but I think the first one's called Bloodlines or something. It's Katie Roberts' trilogy of vampires. It is a reverse harem series, and I just need to read the last book. I'm on book 3, so I just want to finish that series. It hasn't been a favorite series. I think all the books have got about 3 stars, book 1 and book 2, which is why I've been taking a long time to read book 3, but I just want to read it. They're quick. There's no reason not for me to not just finish up the series. So reverse harem prompts, getting that series out of the way. And so now we're at the reverse harem, and if we get a pink card, we're gonna finish it with a mood read. Or if we get any double cards, we'll finish it with a mood read. But we might get one more book before mood read if we pull 1 purple, 1 green, or 1 blue card. And we got 1 pinks. That means we are done with the month. We made it to our end goal of the mood read. And it was a very easy month this month. And the last prompt is a mood read. So I'm gonna have some options here, but a mood read means whatever I'm feeling in that moment. So we might not end up going with these options. But some of the books I've really been wanting to read are All the Feels by Olivia Dad. I read Spoiler Alert earlier this year and loved Spoiler Alert, so I want to read the next book in the series. Oh, and this is a romance series. I've also been wanting to read Pretty Little Life by Darby Kane. I'm not so into the wife thrillers, domestic thrillers, but I've heard such good things about this one that I still want to give it a try. And I got it from Book of the Month, and I need to read my Book of the Month books, so this would be a good one to read. There's also always the option of going with the new Ruth Ware as well for this mood read. Or lastly, I might end up reading Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker. I've really been wanting to read this. This is the last Brandon Sanderson in the Cosmere series, in the Cosmere universe of all those books that I need to read. So Brandon Sanderson is like my favorite author ever. All of his books get 5 stars for me. So the fact that I haven't read this yet is frankly a crime. So this is a high contender as well for the mood read. So a lot of the books for this month ended up being ebooks, especially all those romance books are going to be Kindle Unlimited books, along with that audiobook for the YA thriller. But of the physical books, I have Upgrade by Blake Crouch, Malice by John Gwynne, and The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. So these are the books I'm for sure going to get to this month. Not too bad at all. So altogether we had 8 books. 8 books got us all the way across the board. We didn't hit any of the bridges, but still 8 isn't too bad. I typically read between 20 and 30 books each month, so having only 8 that I have to read is not too bad. And yes, I hope this was a lot of fun to watch. I had a lot of fun playing the game, and you can watch out for this on my channel now. Every single month for my TBR, I will be playing TBRLAND. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to like and subscribe. Bye!